Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for listening to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name is Jeremiah Krakowski, and today I'm going to be talking about something that I think is an urgent message that people need to hear. And this comes because, I've been working in the coaching industry for 2 decades, and I see people take way longer than they need to actually accomplish things. And most people only need about 30 days to actually reach their goal. The problem is I see, and this is no exaggeration, people taking 5 to 10 years to finally get to the place where they take 30 days to actually do the thing that they want to do in their business. And so what if, instead of it taking you 5 to 10 years to finally gain the courage to put your stuff out there, to launch something, you actually did it right away? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you with that right now. I'm going to help you answer a few questions that maybe you have that have had you stuck. One of the biggest ones that people have is, what's a topic that's profitable? And here's the biggest thing that I'm going to say that's going to help you with this. Not all information works for a mentorship business. Not all information is going to be profitable for you to launch out there. Now, this right here is a big reason why most people usually struggle to launch, is because they're waiting until they have certainty and confidence that what they're going to put out there is going to work for them. And that's the worst thing that you can do. The worst thing that you can do is wait until you know for sure that it's going to work out and that it's a good idea to launch. I'm going to say that again. The worst thing that you can do is to wait until you know for sure that it's going to work out and that what you've picked to do is going to work. I see people do this. They toss around 5 to 10 different ideas for a niche, but they haven't quite picked one yet and they haven't quite launched. And ultimately it's because they're coming up with reasons why their brain is focused on all the ways that it can go wrong for them, instead of having hope for how it can go right and being willing to experiment and put themselves out there and be okay with it failing. Be okay with just seeing what happens. This right here is what stops people, makes them take 10 years to do anything. At the core of it is you got to just accept the risk and put something out there. Now, here's how we can mitigate this risk, okay? Is people will pay for a transformation that they desire, that will take them from where they are to where they want to be, okay? Just because you have information to give people are not going to just pay for information. I see people, why did nobody buy my art therapy? Why did nobody buy my stories? Things like that. Like, that is you trying to get people to buy into your creativity. That's not you actually bringing a transformation to somebody and walking them through a process that's going to help them. And so the first thing is that people invest in mentorship, in coaching, in training when they feel confident that it's going to produce an end result outcome for them. If you have no idea about what you could deliver to people to bring an end result outcome to them, that's where you need to start to study and figure that out. But you don't need to take a long time to do that, okay? We all have experiences, we all have knowledge, we all have things that we can help people with. We can also learn and grow in certain areas. But what's not going to help is you overanalyzing, coming up with all the ways that it could not work out and then not testing something out. What you want to pay attention to is this, is that whatever you put out there in a mentorship, in a coaching business, it needs to not just be information about something, okay? About how to do something, or just information in general. It needs to be connected with a framework for how you actually help people do that themselves. Information is useless to people because it's very difficult for most people to translate information into taking action in their life. It's very difficult for most people. And so your goal is to actually create the journey for them, to walk people through a journey to where you're guiding people and leading people to take an outcome. This is why, if you're so concerned about people liking you, approving of you, liking your content, like, you won't make money in this business. You won't. Okay? What will make you money is being willing to test, experiment, and discover what are the transformational goals that people in your space want, and how can you guide them there? How can you take them to that result? Now, here's the other thing, too. I hear a lot of people say this. I'm just setting the foundations for my business. I'm getting stuff together. I'm getting things in order. And that is a lie. It is. Because people who are actually doing the work don't say that they're getting things in order. They just do the work. And so whatever you have come up with, and I used to do this same thing myself, and I understand if this is offensive to you. I'm talking from my own experience here. I was lying about what I was actually preparing for. What I was actually doing was disassociating. I was distracting myself. It was too painful to look at why I wasn't taking action. My biggest reason was I said I have too much work to do. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough energy to build the business that I want. And as soon as I decided to no longer buy into that lie, our business has made $850,000 in the last 11 months. Okay? And so you have to understand that there comes a moment, and it's usually a 30-day, 60-day spark where you finally start moving and taking momentum, and you let go of being concerned if things actually will work out. That's one of the biggest things, is when you finally let go of the concern of, is this going to work out? Are people going to connect with this? Will this produce a result? When you legitimately let go of that, that's where the spark of genius comes from. And that's where I've seen people make so much more money. Okay? And so you might come up with 1,001 reasons why you can't. Maybe your personality doesn't fit into that mold, whatever. In today's world, with artificial intelligence, you don't have the luxury and time anymore of sitting on an idea for months at a time. Because if you sit on an idea, and I've seen this happen for 6, 12, 24 months, 1,000 other people will have already had that idea that you had and exhausted the marketplace with it. And now by the time you put it out there, it's not going to work. And then this becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of, by the time I get things up, it never works. By the time, nothing ever works out for me. Well, when we can actually learn to, once we have the spark of the idea, we don't second guess it. We don't question it. We start to move on our instincts. We start to move on our intuition. Instead of wondering, is this a good idea? We take action, even if it doesn't pan out how we would hope it to. That behavior will pay you dividends more than anything else. And whatever you got to do to get to that place, I would do as quickly as possible. You might need to talk with a therapist. You might need to work on whatever triggers are actually stopping you from taking action. We have to become self-aware of why we are taking longer than 30 days to launch our offers. Why we are unwilling to experiment and see how things go. Put something out there. Oh, and by the way, experiment. If it fails, you need to then do it again. Tweak it, adjust it, not sit on the laurels of, oh, well, this didn't work out, now we're going to sit on it for 6 months. No. Sit on it for 30 days and then go again. Okay? I know that I've been talking for a while from this perspective of have self-compassion and self-acceptance, and that's so important to do. But on the flip side, we have to be disciplined to actually act on our ideas, move things forward, instead of sitting around waiting for perfection, waiting until we feel good about it. Here's a hint. In this industry, in the mentorship, in the coaching industry, you will never feel good about anything you launch. Let me explain that. There will never come a time, and I say this from experience because I've worked with the top mentors, there will never actually come a time where you feel good enough about your offer that you feel, okay, I can finally have the confidence to put it out there. Never, that day never actually arrives. Hasn't arrived for me. Hasn't arrived for any coach that I know who's actually successful. They've learned to take action without knowing how the outcome's going to be. And they're willing to embrace the risk and put it out there. And so that needs to become your focus, is how can I start to do more risky behavior? If you're unwilling to take risk, if you're unwilling to put yourself out there just to see what happens, then you need to ask yourself, why is that? What is underneath the surface that is preventing this from happening? And when you start to become aware of that, things will start to fall in place for you. You'll be willing to pick an idea or two to test out for a niche. What'll actually happen is you'll be more open to things turning out better for you. And we have to stop imagining the worst case scenario. We need to start imagining the best case scenario of how things are going to go. Our brain doesn't need any help to make up and imagine the worst case scenario in any situation. But we need to flip it when that happens. Now, I was having this happen this afternoon. I started thinking, man, my brain literally was telling me my business is going to die. I'm going to lose customers. We're not making enough money. I had to shift it out of that state because I started getting depressed. I started getting angry. I started feeling like a failure. And I had to intentionally say, no, why am I focusing on that right there? No truth. There's literally no evidence in my life that there was any truth behind that worry, by the way. and yet, that's where my brain went. And so that doesn't stop no matter how much success you have. Your brain will not stop trying to convince you that things are going to go bad for you. So stop waiting until it finally does. You have to learn to shift your thoughts, shift them into the direction of imagining the best case scenario, and then take action on it. And ultimately, we cannot worry what anybody thinks about us. We cannot concern our energy with anybody's opinions of us. I made a post recently that offended quite a few people. That was about the fact that in my business, people over the age of 60 generally don't become a client of mine. But I got a lot of people over 60 who follow me. Now, there's some outliers, but in that, I'm going to stop targeting people over 60 with my advertising because I lose money every single time. We get a lot of cheap leads, and they all go in the toilet. Nobody buys anything in that age category. That could be offensive to somebody. I'm not. That's not my concern. My concern is, how can I be profitable in my business? What's the activities I need to do to actually make a profit in my business? Okay? And so if I know, okay, people under 60 are more likely to become a client of mine through advertising, and I'm putting money into advertising, I'm going to do what's most profitable for my business, even though I know that I could help that group of people. Stop doing things, quote unquote, because you're trying to do the right thing. Just stop it. Do what's profitable in your business. Learn to sell. Learn to give a presentation. Learn to make a connection with people. Grow in your people skills. Grow in your communication ability to be able to communicate with people and to be able to get people to give you their credit card to pay for the solution and the transformation that they want. That behavior right there of being able to attract people that want you to solve a problem for them, and then you strategically provide them that solution for payment, creates a highly successful, highly profitable mentoring, coaching, mastermind business. There's no other behavior other than that. Now, the nuances could be your funnel building and getting people on your email list and doing a presentation, but those are just tools to be able to make a connection with the people that are most likely to spend money with you. They're the best tools to be able to do so, but we need to not get so caught up in the process and the minutia of doing all that perfect and focus on the end goal. Connection with people that have problems to lead them to their solution. That's our focus. We cannot, I had somebody nitpicking over a comment that I made on social media today. Guarantee you she's not making any money in her business. About how wrong I was to say that you're going to have a really hard time if you're trying to monetize a nonprofit or get really like people that don't have money to invest with you to try to get them to make an investment with you. And then what I said was focus on what's most profitable for your business and then pour those profits into the nonprofit area. She didn't like that. She's like, what? So, fundraisers don't work? I'm like, what are you talking about? And she just kept going on, like trying to nitpick over what I said. I'm just like, have a good day. Not my job, not my problem to now come down to that level of energy with people. Honestly, people's energy is in a very low state most of the time. And for you to be able to be successful in your coaching business, you have to keep it at an elevated state, a level where you're operating, you're flying high above in the clouds above where most people are operating. Well, isn't that arrogant? Isn't that rude? No, it's not at all, in fact. I actually have more compassion and can help people better, and I don't sugarcoat the truth when I operate from that level. My family has made tens of millions of dollars. My mom added up over $100 million. Puts us in the top 0.1% income earners category. And at that level, like, there's a different game that's being played than most people are even willing to talk about. And for you to be able to raise your income to a level where you're making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month, you have to raise your state and your awareness, and you're going to operate differently than 99% of everybody in your life. Everybody that you ever met before. Everybody that you know. You're going to have to do behaviors that go against how you've been raised, what you've been taught for years. But when you start doing that intentionally and you make that actually part of your process, listen, you're going to have people telling you that the things that you're doing in your business are wrong, that they're not going to work, that you shouldn't be doing them, and you need to just keep doing them. And you need to just keep doing those things and stop letting people sway you away from taking action because you're concerned about being wrong and doing the right thing in your business. Don't let anybody tell you how to run your business unless they're a mentor that you look up to that has a track record of success. My track record is creating 8-figure mentoring businesses, coaching businesses. And so what I'm telling you right now is the foundation of what will transition you from where you're at to success when you shift out of the state of mind of somebody who's just going through the motions, who's a complainer, who's a whiner, who has the victim mindset, and you step into abundance and you start to realize I have all the resources that I need to be successful. I'm going to keep my vision focused on the bright side of the best case scenario of how things can go. And I'm going to start to take action even if I can't control the outcome. Even if it's a mistake, I'm going to be 100% okay with doing the wrong thing. Just to see what happens. Just to experiment. Just to gather data to see how people are going to respond. And I'm not going to let the outcome slow me down from continuing that work continuously. And no matter what happens in the outcome, I'm not going to pause for an extended length of time to quote unquote recover. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep moving forward. And that, my friends, is going to make you unstoppable. Okay? So hopefully this has helped you. Hopefully this has lit a fire under you. That was my goal with this. And I can't wait to see you be successful. Listen, if you're not part of my Client Growth Accelerator, jump on the waiting list. Get on the waiting list of my coaching program. We're helping mentors, coaches, trainers create multi-six-figure businesses, walking them through step-by-step every single aspect of what it takes. We have training, resources. I'm in there supporting you personally every single week to help you. I'm responding in the group. I'm responding to your sales copy. I'm helping you put it all together so that you're not stuck. And so most of the time the doors are not open to our program. You can get on the waiting list, and when we do open those doors, it's going to be one of the best investments you've ever made in your life. And I can't wait to see you in there with us. We'll talk soon. Grow your life, everybody. Have a good one.